uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Just to update the score right now, your Tampa Bay Rays are beating the New York Mets in the top of the 7, 2-0. How about those Rays? So how do we start off this edition live here on I Love St. Pete, the Hub, Amped Up Sports, and now Raise Up. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, we'll have all-time leading closer for your Tampa Bay Rays, Mr. Roberto Hernandez, on with us. Talking what else about your Tampa Bay Rays, talking around baseball, maybe giving us some stories. Of course, I'll have my co-host, Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. Another legend in here, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions and Amped Up Sports. At the 10 o'clock hour, JC Allen of Petwer Report to get you your Bucs fix, because we're not just talking Rays on this show, even though we are definitely going to cover them, talk with you fans out there, whether they win or lose. JC Allen of Petwer Report will join us. And then at 10:20, the ever-popular Turnbuckle Talk with the madman himself, former XPW announcer Mark Mancini Media, and of course, Ralph Williams, newest sports personality, radio personality out of Pittsburgh, WWE, AEW, professional wrestling talk. And then, as always, your phone calls, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number to get in on, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. Also, we'll have Alex Nunster on of Raise Up, giving out all those Rays tickets. The Timex reporter will be in the building to give his Rays thoughts. So far, so good, guys, as the Rays are beating the Mets 2-0 going into the bottom of the 7th. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this guy on. Here we go. Professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports, Mr. Harry the Greek. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend. How you doing? And we've got no sound. You got to love that. A big-time intro, and we've got no sound by Harry the Greek. I don't know what's going on here, buddy. So we will try. Yes. Go. Yes. Hi, Harry. How you doing? He'll come back on. So we'll get him back on here in a moment. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get this gentleman on. Here we go. The Tiger, of course, former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports, Mr. Leo Haggerty. There is Mr. Harry the Greek.
Can you hear me now?
I can definitely hear you, Harry the Greek. And Leo, I see you as you're probably on the man on the couch. He's
not in the toilet again.
Well, on the couch.
You're on the couch.
As Don Cooper said, and you're watching this Rays game with bated breath again. 2-0 Rays over the New York Mets. Once again, we're waiting for Roberto Hernandez, former Major League Baseball player.
Peter, before we go on, I have a question of Harry, because, Peter, I think it's before your time.
Sure, go for it.
Harry.
Yes, sir.
The greatest bump and grind song ever recorded. I'm going to say Earth, Wind, and Fire, After the Love Is Gone. What do you say?
It's not bad. I like that a little bit.
That's completely out of left field. What would make
the song came out in 1979, by the way.
Yes.
After the Love Was Gone. You're correct, but you can't ever go wrong with the song from the 90s. The only thing I want is a little bump and grind.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Leo, you don't know nothing about that, but that's okay. I get it.
That's from R. Kelly as we await Roberto Hernandez to come on. Tell you what, gentlemen, let's read these comments first, because they're going to absolutely kill me if I don't read them tonight. Troy Polamalu says,
bottom of the fourth, something really important just happened.
Yes,
we just got a big cheeseburger in Chicago. Jake Berger just hit a 2-run shot to put him up. You ready?
Yes.
4-1, baby.
4-1 White Sox. Okay. All right.
And the Rays are winning 2-0. I just wanted to throw that out there.
If we're
Yes.
giving score updates, Miami's up on Boston 39-36.
Well, there you go. We got your score update, so no need to watch sports here. We're in the sports web. We talk about all kinds of sports on this show. Of course, happy to be a part of Rays Up There. Lots of crazy Rays fans love it, and we're waiting for Alex and, of course, Roberto. So Troy says first, yes.
Hey,
Coach,
Peter,
yes.
how about this? I don't know if anybody is a Premier League proponent.
I am.
But it looks like Leicester City is going to get relegated.
Really? What's that?
Yeah. And we're talking about a team that 6 years ago won the daggone Premier League. So
they're gonna be bounced out of the Premier League, is what it is, and
So that's what that means?
it's an actual penalty.
Okay.
For them for not actually performing well, if I'm not mistaken correctly.
Correct. Yeah.
And then they're able to come back not too long from now. And don't worry, my team, who always work, because your guys not only wear black, but they also wear blue. And my friends, that team is, why is my brain not working? It's called Chelsea. Thank you.
Chelsea.
Okay. Well, there you go.
They're not doing well.
We just talked basketball. We just talked baseball. And, of course, we're going to talk football, just watching this game as we speak. Deep drive. And it is a tie game with the Mets just tying it up. Ventos with the damage as we speak. So the Mets have tied up the game with a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 7th. So not good news for Rays fans as we speak. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get this gentleman on. All-time closer, leading closer for the Tampa Bay Rays. Also played for the Chicago White Sox.
Damn right. Right
and
here.
The Atlanta Braves and the Mets and various teams around Major League Baseball. Glad to have him on.
Don't forget about Bandit.
Yes, Bandit, of course. Roberto Hernandez. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television tonight. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, guys. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfect, man.
Perfect.
All right.
Absolutely perfect.
All right.
So, and then, of course, we got this guy right here. We're going to get him in here just in a little bit. Mr. Alex Nunster, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television of Rays Up. How you doing, my friend? Okay, I can't hear him, so I guess he's just waiting.
Hi, guys. This is so exciting. I've never done this before, so we'll see how this is.
Well, there you go, and he's got his glasses on because right now he's a little bit under the weather. So, Alex, I'll put you in the lobby really quick here. Stand by, but I want to start out here with Roberto. Your overall thoughts of the Tampa Bay Rays right now. They have to be the story of Major League Baseball, 32-11.
Very sick.
Just pretty amazing at the end of the day, right, Roberto?
Yeah, it's amazing what have they've done and what have they've accomplished. And it's amazing that, they're even in games now with all the injuries that they've had in their bullpen and also in their rotation. But, one of the things that, things that amazes me the most is the sudden power surge that they got.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think that's probably the most surprising thing. I mean, is for you because you've always had the pitching there. You've always had the defense. You've always had the run prevention. But this year, it seems like Wander Franco is finally healthy. You're getting contributions from Josh Lowe. Brandon Loud there for a little bit, kind of cooling down. Had a double tonight, so he may be coming around. Randy Arozarena. I mean, they're getting it from different players, and I think that's probably the most amazing thing, right? Roberto?
Yeah, I mean, they're getting it from not only them. That both catchers are hitting. With power, Walls is hitting with power. I mean, I think one of the guys that's always been the glue that's starting to hit with more power, unfortunately he went on the DL, was Yandy Diaz.
Okay.
His ball is starting to get some more carry and backspin. He's always been the gap-to-gap hitter, but now he's starting to, get the angles to where he can launch balls. But you know what? It's very exciting to watch him. It's frustrating for me because I grew up as a Met fan, so I'm just like your boy over there with the White Sox uniform. He's a suffering guy just like I am.
Hey, it's a South Side thing. Roberto, here's the $1 million question. It's the bottom of the 9th. You're up by a run. And then Turbo's walking by the way he is. Turbo, get out of the shot. Thank you.
Yeah, your cats are all.
Now, hold on. It's the bottom of the 9th.
Yes.
And first base is open. And you see me walking up there because you see the name, right? My question, Roberto, is this: what are you doing? You gonna put me on? You're gonna take the 4? You're gonna give me first, or are you gonna drill me?
I just waste one pitch and just drill you.
Absolutely.
Are you trying to, Leo? I know you
That's
got
what friends are for.
for Roberto, and then we're going to get out to Alex here because Alex is doing some great things with his Facebook site there that we're now part of the Sports Web and being an admin of giving away free tickets. Really special stuff there that Alex, the Timex reporter, is doing. But Leo, I know you got a question for Roberto Hernandez. Go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. Roberto, the new rules with the pitch count and the timing. What do you think of that personally as a pitcher?
I mean, for me, I was never in danger of wasting 20 seconds. You know, I was the type of person that wanted to catch the ball, get my sign, and let's go get them. I love it. You know, some of the other rules I'm not too fond of, where you can only pick over twice, and if you do it again, it's a free base for the other guy. You know, that's not hard to strategize if you pick over twice. You know you got to go home. You know, I love the rules of, where these overshifts are gone. You know, hopefully, you bring back a little bit of small ball, bunting and stealing.
Did you really just say small ball?
Well, I mean,
I miss it.
That's
Roberto.
what that would, okay. Team play, you play 162 games, regular season. And all of a sudden, the teams that can't do any of the small balls are the ones that go home early in the playoffs. And then you're trying to force teams to do things, force players to do things that they haven't done all year.
Yeah.
That's my biggest argument every time you see the playoffs.
Yeah, Roberto, I'm going to ask you another question real quick.
Yes,
sir.
The days of a runner on second with nobody out and the batter giving himself up just to hit him to the right side to move him to third. Those days are over with the sabermetrics, aren't they?
I think they're over. I mean, I'm glad I'm not playing in the today's game with that, because I'm old. I'm old school. We played long we played long games. I remember playing 17, 18 inning games where you guys, you're giving everything you got. Then
so you're in favor of the extra innings with a runner on second, huh?
Oh, don't get us started on that one, right, Harry?
Can I put an input on his comment about small ball?
Well, first and foremost,
he meant to say Ozzy ball, but that's okay.
Roberto, I want to introduce this man right here. He's giving out free Rays tickets. He's running a Rays basically Facebook page here, giving out free tickets, trying to support the Rays, get more fans out there. The Timex reporter, Mr. Alex, has a question for you, Roberto. Go ahead.
No problem.
Actually, how about I do introduce myself? My name is Alex. It's actually my first time ever doing this. I've been a part of what Peter's been doing for quite a while. I've called in quite a few times, but I actually did not start that page. Another admin started, and she added me about 3 years ago, and past couple years I've sat back and watched, and it's just your average page. You post a score, hey, the Rays win or the Rays lose. Kevin Cash probably messed up the bullpen, or a reliever blew up 6 runs, or hey, we just lost and we blew a 6-run lead like we did in the Yankee series. But this year I decided to do something different. I believe in my heart, something that's on my heart is I believe in giving back to others, and it's just the way I was raised. And I think this year the main admin of that page decided to say, Alex, you know what? I see you. You're dedicated. I want you to take over this page. So I go to, I'm probably at least every homestand, 5 games, if not more. And with that being said, I have a lot of connects in the stadium. I also, me and a friend of mine have a couple season tickets in the outfield, of course, Randy Land. You can catch me there. But I think this year my vision was to bring people together and bring people to the ballpark. So with that being said, with the growth that we have in the page, and I'll get to that in 1 second, basically all I do is take all of our new members and I take the people that invite the most members, and basically it's just a raffle. We give out tickets. I mean, I've given out 12 tickets to the next homestand alone. And it's not just to say good job, Alex. To me, it's just to bring people together. And I'll tell you guys, putting on that note before I ask or comment on his comment he made about small ball, you cannot believe what a simple 2.5 hour to 3 hour baseball game can mean to someone who has never even been to a game. And I think that's for me, I think what all this is about, to be honest.
That's actually cool.
It is very cool. Roberto, you got to love fans like Alex, trying to promote it, because we've always talked about this. There's been problems with getting fans, whether it's ownership, whether it's location. We're not going to go down that road again, because I don't.
Sure, we could.
No, let's not do that.
Because everybody knows how much I love the Rays owners.
Right. But with that being said, again, just a lot more fans are coming out this year. I think, is it necessarily, the lower ticket prices? Is it the exciting team? Is it Randy Arozarena and Randy Land? Or do you think it's also with the new rules, they've kind of shortened the game up so fans are more, prevalent to come out there and support this team, because you're not out there for 3.5, 4 hours like you were in years past?
It's the quick pace game. You get the average, the first time fans to go out there, and you see that there's action. It's not thank God that these fans have never had to sit through a Steve Traxel game.
Oh God!
And
Let's take a half an hour between pitches
out here, because
I suffered with the Rays,
right,
and I suffered with the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting in the bullpen and falling asleep because Steve Traxel throws 2 pitches in 5 minutes.
Mm.
And I mean, he's a good teammate of mine, but he would not last. He would never last.
How many batters an inning would he walk now in today's game?
Excuse me?
How many batters in today's game would he walk per inning the way he pitched then?
Oh, fuck. He'd be out the game. I mean, it's 20 seconds. I mean, I remember sitting in the bullpen on a getaway day game, and the whole bullpen is yelling towards him to start picking it up. So we got a plane to catch.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's mind-boggling. I don't mind if he's got to start game 1, but when we got to travel, no. I mean,
can I give you an update here? Brandon Lau has just went yard for your Tampa Bay Rays. It is now 4-2 Rays over the Mets there in the top of the A. Sorry to interrupt, but Roberto, I had to update it. Go ahead.
Yeah, you keep throwing daggers at me, man. I'm a Met fan. All right?
Yeah. Let's correct this. The all-time saves leader for the Rays,
right?
But he's a Met fan.
I grew up in New York, man, and I played for my hometown
he's
team.
a Manhattan kid. I know how it is.
Talk all about the Rays. You're a Mets fan. They have the highest payroll in Major League Baseball.
Man, they all hurt. They're all freaking on a DL.
Right.
Yeah, that's the difference between the Rays and everybody else. Everybody else, they have somebody hurt, and they're shuffling the deck to see where they can pull a trade. The Rays just, they just sent down their top prospect because they're thinking, they don't want to give him too much time, pitching wise, so they'll start throwing Fleming and they'll start bullpen by committee and they'll win games. Or they'll go through somebody else's trash and figure him out and dust him up and then he's become an all-star. That
that's good coaching there.
Hey guys, I want to say a few things.
Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, cool. So I want to go back to what Roberto Hernandez was referring to about small ball. Actually, as I'm watching the game today, I think that's what's disappointing about the game today. I mean, I'm watching the game, and their starter was pitching elite. He was pitching gas. And I see a lot of people posting, how come, Cash is not bunting the runners over. You had Wander Franco leading off the inning, or he led it off first and stole second. Nobody out. Why are you not bunting the runner over, playing some small ball? Because the very next at bat, I think it was, I don't know who's next at bat, but they had a fly out in right field. There's your run. I think Roberto is correct. I think the problem is it's disappointing to see how much we've dipped out on the small ball. I think that's a huge part of the disappointment of the game today.
Roberto?
One of the thing is that analytics says, one thing about giving a batter up.
Analytics.
For an out. Mm-hmm. But come playoff times, you're going to see analytics go out the window, and you're going to see everybody starting to bunt,
unless you're Kevin Cash.
Yeah, well, I mean, but the problem is that, it's across the board. It's not just Kevin Cash. It's everywhere. But then all of a sudden, in the playoff, you start to see them trying to do this, and they can't get it down. They can't hit behind the runner. They don't know how to bunt a guy over. They don't know how to, take that extra base. Because everybody's, thinking that everything is either strikeouts or home runs.
And you know what? A perfect example of that were 2 playoff games last year. The Rays in Cleveland go 16 innings, nothing, before somebody hits a home run.
Yes.
And the Mariners and the Astros go 18 innings, nothing. Dear God.
Waiting for they're waiting for the freaking lightning to strike.
I think
swing.
And I think the problem with the game today is we are relying so much on the long ball, and I think that's what's the problem, in a lot of games, especially how we went out on the playoffs last year. When you go, what was that game? 15 innings to end that final game for the Rays, and you go out 15 innings of no-run baseball. Actually, I think back-to-back games, we won a total of almost 30 innings of no-run baseball. Yeah. I mean, you got to learn when to mix it back to some small ball, and I think it's disappointing to see that we are relying so much on the long ball, especially in today's baseball.
Let me get in here on something.
One of the things that always happens, once you get in the playoff, you're the top 8 teams. Those pitching staff are not too shabby.
Right.
Once you start, weeding out, the also ran, and there's always that saying, good pitching
nullifies great hitting.
Always
Harry, I got
dominate good hitting.
Good hitting. The only time
that I saw that where good pitching didn't stop good hitting is when I was with the White Sox in '93. We had the best pitching staff, and Toronto had the best hitting staff. But the hitting lineup, the problem was that our top 2 starters could not beat Toronto. That was Jack McDowell and Alex Fernandez. Every time those 2 guys went on there, it was just a beat fest. And you're not going to take them out of the rotation,
right?
But that was our biggest problem. But once you get in the playoffs, and especially late in the season where you got all these guys you can match up with, you're going to play some tight games, just like what happened with Seattle and the Rays going extra innings. Excuse me. And if you don't create something, it's hard to beat teams, especially when everybody now that's coming out of the bullpen is throwing a million. You don't see anybody throwing less than 95. Everybody's got 5 or 6 guys in the stable with damn near 100. Which is back then, it was unheard of.
Right.
But you force the issues. When you're just swinging for the fences, it's hard to do. You don't, I remember playing against Cleveland, they're back in the days, and their number 9 hitter was Sandy Alomar Jr.
Wow.
And he's hitting 9th. And then you look at their lineup, you got Manny Ramirez, Albert Bell, Kenny Lofton, Jim Thome, Eddie Murray, Roberto Alomar. Who the hell are you going to pitch to?
Yeah. Well, and I tell you right now, a lot of, and we're on with Roberto Hernandez.
That lineup that you just mentioned was
Yeah.
even scarier than the Olerud lineup that you faced when you were
Yes.
pitching against.
And
I'm telling you, that Cleveland team was just devastating.
Well,
Hey, Roberto, I have a
to-
question for you.
Hold on,
Yes.
Alex.
hold on, Alex.
One at
I'm
a time, brother.
going to
One
go
at a
ahead and
time,
reset
guys.
this really quick. We're on the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Of course, my co-host, Mr. Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire, up 1252. Chicago Sports, the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Nine Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports, the all-time saves leader for the Tampa Bay Rays, Mr. Roberto Hernandez, and of course, the Timex reporter, Mr. Alex Nunster. Once again, I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. You talk about Cleveland, Albert Bell, Jim Thome, hitters go on, and a lot of people were talking about that, Roberto, from last year, where this team and this offense was completely embarrassed. Do you think the reason why this offense has been so good this year, besides the obvious of execution and working on things in the offseason, is because that motivating fact of getting embarrassed by the Guardians in the postseason?
I mean, that's one thing, but you also got to look at, you got guys that are, these guys are professionals, the Rays, anybody that's, plays this game. All you have to do is, tweak one or two things in your swing.
Right.
And create, an angle to where you can start getting more carry. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, like, I watched the other day when the Rays were playing against Baltimore. You look at that lineup, I'm like, wow, these guys, every year you have to improve. And what's going on is that the Rays are improving. They're getting smarter at the plate. They're taking what they're giving. And they're not missing. When you go, when you start off good, it's hard to keep, to stay on track. But it's a lot easier when the whole team's on fire or you're on fire. I remember, starting off the year when I played in Chicago, everybody hated the cold except for me because I loved pitching in the cold because nobody wanted to hit. Frank Thomas was a slow starter. Robin Ventura's a slow starter.
Bo Jackson was a slow starter.
Yeah, I mean, you get 30, 40 at-bats, early in the season and you're freezing and you're not getting any success. But these guys are down here in controlled environment. They're playing at home. The one thing that I like about what's going on with the Rays, home field is becoming home field advantage, regardless of who you're playing. They were talking about, they were such a undefeated streak with the, you don't control who's in your schedule.
Amen.
You don't control that. But sooner or later, but they're nobody's giving them credit because they go up. The Yankees came down here. They beat the crap out of the Yankees. They're going up there. They should have won 4 games against the Yankees.
Right.
But you know what? Things happen. They scored enough in those games to win 4 games. They scored enough.
Right.
But it doesn't happen. You can't win every game. You try to, but you're not going to sacrifice a game or a player if he's hurt or he tweaks something, you go back to that first game against New York. I'm watching Rasmussen just carving them up like it was Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, I wake up the next day, he's on a 60-day DL.
What happened with that, Roberto?
What the hell happened? I'm still trying to figure it out.
Right, and it's an injury that can possibly lead to
toenail problem.
Damage. Well, no, Tommy John surgery, and here's the sad thing about it, Robert. I know it's a joke. It could lead to a third, Tommy John surgery.
Exactly.
Listen, Leo, I know we got to get you out of here because you're on a pitch count tonight. You got a final question for Roberto, and then we'll get you out on that, my friend.
Yeah, I got one last question for you. Roberto, who was the one guy you didn't want to see come to the plate?
This is a great question.
The one guy I didn't want to see come to the plate, his name is Edgar Martinez because he made me think too damn much. The one thing about pitchers, if you think on the mound, you're in trouble. you're in deep shit. And Edgar made me think way too much.
He did.
I love it. I love it. Good stuff. Leo,
Guys, I'm
Haggerty.
out of here. Have
All
a
right,
good
my
night.
friend. We will see you next week. There we go. We got the four of us right here. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Harry the Greek professional capper extraordinaire, former Major League Baseball closer, Mr. Roberto Hernandez, and the Timex reporter who has got a question. Go ahead, Alex.
Great. Guys, I want to go back to some things we were talking about, the Rays roster. I think what's impressive about it is what people don't forget about is, these are the same guys. I mean, I want to point out a couple good guys this year that have, they were slumped. They were awful last year. Taylor Walls has to be one of my favorite. I mean, his game this year, his defense was so sloppy last year. His bat was just, swinging for the fences. Every time he stepped up to the plate, that he was going to get a strikeout almost every single time. He made a comment after the season ended last year, and he said, "I'm going to come back different. I'm going to do something, and I'm going to come back different." And I kind of watched some of these players throughout the year, and I know for a fact that he was hustling this offseason. So going back to what he said, sometimes it just takes the smallest little tweak. And even Josh Lowe, look at Josh Lowe. He said he wanted something to prove. He wanted to make that everyday roster. Look at him. He's hitting bombs. I think what's so impressive about this roster is these are the same guys. You really don't have much of a coaching change. I think we got our first and third baseman coaching change. I think we got our bench coach changed. But I think personally, asking for my personal opinion, I think you got rid of some people that were some guys on the bench or in the roster that were putting this team down. I'm sorry to say this to a lot of fans, but I think Kevin Kiermaier had his good time in Tampa.
Really,
he did some great
350 right now.
And yes, and getting to that, Harry's got a good point. Getting to that,
he couldn't do that here.
That's true. But
exactly.
Can you believe me, man? He's batting 350 in Toronto right now, and it's all about situational baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Roberto will tell you that too.
He didn't want to buy in using freaking left field.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
He was a hitter that left field was like a foreign country that you needed a passport. If he wanted to hit that way. Your best hitters, your 300 hitters in baseball, use all the field.
Yep.
But let me get back to, with the answer that he gave about guys coming back, and also guys mature, that light bulb turn on differently. Guys, once you play this game and then you figure out what you need to do in a day in, day out basis, your first few years, you're just walking on eggshell because you're trying to make sure you do the right thing. But then all of a sudden you start getting confident and you start to believe in yourself. The scariest thing about these guys here, they all fucking know that they believe in that they're gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just like when I was with the 90, 98, 99, and 2000 Rays, every single one of us that went up to Yankee Stadium or the Yankee came in, all of us believed that the Yankee were going to kick our ass. Except for my ass every time I said, listen, just give me the damn freaking ball in the ninth. We were trying to find ways to lose instead of find ways to win. These guys are finding out ways to win when they shouldn't be winning some games. But they just find ways to win. That's belief and confidence.
Beautiful. All right. I love it. I got to ask you because you said guys mature differently. We talked about Taylor Walls. We talked about Josh Lowe. I always get the mix of Brandon Lau, who just hit a 2-run home run once again to update the score. 4-2 Rays over the Mets, top of the ninth right now. So we'll see if the Rays can close it out. Colin Poche with a great bullpen, high leverage situation, 3 up and 3 down. With that being said, is that what you see with Wander Franco? Is that what you see with Randy Arozarena? And let me ask you this. A lot of people kind of upset, especially the Yankees, when he does the, crossing his arms. I mean, do you have a problem with that? Or is that old guys, get off my grass? Because I feel like it's good for baseball, but then again, there's also that unwritten rule of baseball where you don't show up the pitchers. So how do you
Yeah, I guarantee you that a lot of this shit that's going on now wouldn't have happened. You gonna tell me that you're gonna do that off Nolan Ryan?
No.
Roger Clemens, Jack Morris, Jack McDowell. I mean, fine. You hit your home run. Well, nobody's telling you not to celebrate.
Right.
Right now, it's and then MLB is promoting it. It's more of showboating. And all it takes is one errant pitch. To derail the season.
Right.
Just imagine right now with all the injuries that the Yankees have, just one errant pitch to where you hit Aaron Judge in the hand and you break his hand or break a finger.
Right.
That's your offense, basically. Your glue there. The Rays, who do you hit?
Right.
Who do you hit? Everybody's hitting.
Yeah.
But that's the fortunate thing for the Rays. But the Rays used to be like right now the Yankees. If the Yankees lose Judge, I mean, back in the days, if you lose your main guys, you're like, how the hell are we gonna score?
Yeah.
How like right now, you got Glasnow coming up, like back in the days, if you lost Glasnow a few years ago, I'm like, how are we gonna eat up all these innings? Where do we gonna get all this, the competition, or how are we gonna stay in games? The Rays said, screw it. We're gonna figure it out. By stockpiling arms in the minor leagues, developing them. I've within the last 10 years, I've always came up with this thing in my mind. If I was a team that the Rays are asking for a trade from a minor league pitcher,
right?
I'm asking, what the hell do they see that I don't see?
Right.
Because every time they get somebody, it turns into gold.
Well,
I mean, it just
they look at the spin rate too, Roberto. I mean, when Joey, you remember the young man Joey Kriebel pitches now for. You spent a couple hours with him over in my office a couple years back. When he tried out, when he was off of team, a couple of people from the coaching staff actually came out to watch him pitch. And before he made the ball club and they brought him into the farm system, the only thing, and I asked him, I said, what were some of the things they were asking about? And you know what they were talking about? Spin rate. That's it. That was it. They wanted to know his spin rate, and they added another pitch to his arsenal. And that's what made him become successful. Not your kind of successful, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. But that is one thing that I've asked about. Why is this pitching staff and whoever they bring up are so successful? Because that's all they're looking at is spin rate.
And
what do you have about that?
They're teaching right down below. I don't know. I can care. For me, spin rate is not a big deal. I mean, for me is, can you get guys out? Mm-hmm. Can you get guys out when it needed? You don't have to throw hard. You don't have to spin the ball. If you can, can you imagine a Jamie Moyer right now in today's game? He wouldn't
Kirby Puckett
damn rotation.
Right.
How about Puckett as an offensive hitter? How would you think he would do in today's game?
Let's update the score right now. Josh Lowe just scores a run off a Randy Arozarena infield hit, and now the Rays are up 5-2. Sorry, Roberto.
It's okay, Roberto.
I know.
But the White Sox are up 5-1. It's a little better, isn't it for you?
Hey, can I make a comment?
Yeah, sure.
Going back to you guys were talking about the Arozarena showboating. It's all over baseball. I mean, the bat flips I think are out of hand. I mean, come on, guys. Have you guys seen some of these ridiculous bat flips? It's all over the league. You can't even. I think what's disappointing is it's always the Rays getting looked at. The Rays are cheating. The Rays are too much.
No, it's not.
It's not just saying the Rays. I said it's all over baseball. Major League Baseball has allowed this. You know, I just said back in the days it would never happen. Because, you know, can you just imagine, you know, when not the Tony La Russa of 2 years ago when he was managing the White Sox, but Tony La Russa of the Oakland A's, or a Dusty Baker, or, you know, or a Sparky Anderson, you know, watching bat flips like that, that would never happen.
No, it wouldn't. You wouldn't even try it, Roberto, would you?
Not even from their teams.
Well, let me ask.
It's one thing if you want to do it. Hold on. It's one thing if you want to bat flip or, you know, do this in your own home stadium, which I think is kind of amusing. But every time you hit a home run, you're going to sit there. Where it becomes disrespectful, Alex, is when you're in the opposing team's field and you're doing that. I'm telling you, don't be.
I mean, the Yankees do it at our stadium.
What I'm saying is,
let
me finish what I'm saying.
Everybody does it.
Just because they're doing it, it doesn't make it right. That's the point.
No, agreed.
Okay,
agreed.
Let me finish what I'm saying so I can get this point across. Because back in the day, they would catch 100-mile-an-hour fastball around the ear hole, and you're not seeing it like that anymore. You want that crap to stop?
Yeah, 100%.
Pitchers to start pitching the way they did. Because I know.
I mean, the hit batters are up too.
Roberto would never have done that and allowed that to happen. I've seen Roberto plunk plenty of people back in his day, especially for doing something stupid with a bat flip or if he gave up something in the bottom of the ninth. But it was unusual for him to have to do that because he was always brought into a pressure situation. It's not like a starter where he could actually waste a pitch and actually do that. Roberto, it's on you.
Yeah, no, I gotta interject here. I mean, with all the Rays injuries at this point, why do you think that is? Why do you think there are so many injuries around baseball? Not only the Rays, but pitchers, because you have so much specialization. You didn't have.
What happened this year? What one thing happened this year? It happens every 3 to 4 years.
What's up?
World Baseball event.
That's right, WBC.
Okay.
WBC. You got
That's a good point.
You guys are the guys are ramping up a little bit too early to start competition, and they're getting stretched out. They're getting used. You know, you got guys that are playing in high leverage competition. You know, which should be like in their second or third week of spring training. You know, where there's guys are still trying to get into their groove, but every year that you see, I'm not against the WC. It's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
It is phenomenal, but you got to figure out: are we starting a little bit too early?
Yeah,
where these guys have got to go balls to the walls early, and then you got guys like Clayton Kershaw was denied to even play in it because of his back, and he wanted to play in it. You get the freakish thing like Altuve breaking his thumb. What happened? You got a guy that's not under his control yet, to where he's trying to make a pinpoint pitch. I mean, it takes a long time to have confidence to throw a two-seamer in, knowing that you're not going to hit somebody. But it takes time in spring training to get back into rhythm.
You're damn right it does.
It does. Agreed.
But when you start to play these games under pressure, where it's country against country, U.S. against Japan, U.S. against Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic against Puerto Rico, that's country against country, my friend.
Yeah, you're right.
And it gets amped up to a certain point to where you're starting to see a lot of arms, and it's not just the Rays, it's everybody. It's everybody.
Roberto, I got to tell you, man, if it wasn't for the World Baseball Classic, the New York Mets right now would still have their closer more than likely in their bullpen. And I
agree. I agree with everything you said. I want to add, though, can you guys slightly agree that as a hitter standpoint, maybe it's a chance to get them amped up. I mean, if you look at like a Rosarena for the Rays, I know I'm only going to talk about the Rays because I'm a little biased, but if you look at a Rosarena, that got him amped up. Look what he did in the WBC and brought that right into the season. Can you agree?
Let me stop you there. What you saw a Rosarena doing the WBC, I've seen it done before in the freaking playoff, my friend. That Randy Rosarena that's in the playoff, it's like Jimmy Butler right now in the with the Miami Heat. He's on fire. When it's playoff time, that light's shining brightest. That's where Randy shines.
Yeah, agreed.
So basically, he took the world stage, which is like playoff or WBC, and put his cape back on. You've seen that. It like right now is what's happening now. That carries over from the WBC into spring training, where he's seeing the damn baseball like a freaking watermelon, and he's driving it. He's not missing it. But there's going to come a time, sometime in this year, hopefully not, where he's going to go through where that watermelon's going to turn into a freaking marble and he can't touch it.
That's it. That's baseball.
Everybody goes through slumps. It's how you deal with it.
Agreed. Like I have to. Roberto just said. I mean, everybody. I mean, if you look at Lau, I mean, he was going through a slump. Everybody was bashing this poor guy. Now look at him the last week. I mean, he walked yesterday. He just got a 2-run bomb. He's the reason why we're winning. I mean, I agree with you 100% that when a player is struggling, I preach this a lot in my page, and a lot of people agree and some don't, because we always gonna have people that don't agree. If you love your team like I love this Rays team, especially this roster, this team is 100% different. I'm about to be 30 next month. I'm only 30 years old, so you guys are long ahead of me. But in my 30 years of life, I have never seen a team play this hard, work so hard, and hustle the way this team does. This team can be down 8-0, and I preached to my page, guys, there's 27 outs. And the way we have came back and blown. But going back to what you said, I think people put down a player. Everybody's going to struggle. I mean, it's 162 games is a long season. If you think you're going to get a home run or an RBI every game, Roberto, you can agree that's just not the way baseball works.
No, I mean, there were plenty of times I left the damn ballpark and I wanted to cry because I blew a game. You're not perfect. These guys are human beings that try their damnedest. And the hardest thing for me, it wasn't letting down the fans. It was letting down my teammates. With opportunity to get a W. And that sometimes that alone mentally wears you down. Just like you were talking about Brandon Lau. He was it a few days ago? He had a game where I think he had 4 strikeouts.
Yeah.
But
awful.
and then the thing is that they're going to keep putting them out there, and they're going to let him get the opportunity to work his way out of it. Just imagine if the Rays decided, well, let's sit you for a few days or sit you for a week. Let's start somebody else. Then that starts messing with your brain. I'm like, these guys don't think I can hit. Maybe I can't, but they are pushing confidence in him to say, hey, you still are. He's still hitting 3rd or 4th in this freaking lineup.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that too, because you have a point there. A lot of people are bashing Cash. Why not move him down? You have Josh Lowe hitting the ball like crazy. And by the way, I'm very happy to see the way that Josh Lowe has came out and hit this season. It's impressive too. Just another guy in this roster, but I think that's why I slightly like Kevin Cash, and I slightly disagree. And Roberto, your opinion would be appreciative on this one. Do you agree that Kevin Cash leaves him in that number 4 spot when you are going at a game? You're 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, or you just said 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Do you agree with Kevin Cash I'd have to say I slightly do. But do you agree with Kevin Cash on
All right.
leaving him that number
Let
4
me
spot?
let me ask you who in that whole in that entire lineup, in the last few years have hit over 30 home runs? Over 30. Zero.
In the last few, Brandon Lau.
I'm just talking besides him.
Yeah.
Besides him,
So who you going to
nobody.
hit 34? Exactly. Because he's liable to hit you 3 bombs in one freaking game.
Yeah, like today.
Well, there you go. Good stuff there, Alex. I know you got to get out of here. I know you want to watch the rest.
I do. Guys, thank you so much. Harry the Greek, and Peter, I have been watching you guys for years. I love you guys. You guys do some great work. I would love to be back in here talking some Rays baseball. Roberto, is a pleasure, man. It was an honor to talk to you, man. And I appreciate everything that you did in your time in the leagues, and I appreciate what you do, outside of that as well. So I love you guys.
Thank you.
All right,
care.
see you, Timex, right there. Alex doing some great stuff. Yes, go ahead.
I want to make a comment because I remember a particular game. Roberto, you pitched in so many games, you're going to be like, I don't remember that. But you may remember this. You were in a save situation against Kansas City when you were pitching for my White Sox, or your White Sox. And I heard what you said because you felt bad. You're like, sometimes when you leave the ballpark, you just want to cry. Mm-hmm. There was one particular game that y'all lost. But if you notice, you didn't hear me say how you blew the save. You didn't blow it because you can't control a CNI single that bounced off of you, off the second baseman in the right field, and then a double in the gap because the shortstop can't make a simple catch because they were playing a little bit over to the right. And I remember that. And I remember you coming off the mound, and it looked like you were screaming. And I could hear you through the TV. I'll never forget that. But that wasn't your fault. And that happens all the time. Sometimes pitchers get hit making their best pitches. Sometimes the bat just meets the ball. I've seen plenty of pitchers make a great pitch, and the batter gets lucky and just hit a really, really good pitch. I just like your thoughts on that. Do you actually remember that game? Because I remember a ball hit you. I think it bounced off the second baseman and went in the right field. But what's your thoughts on something like that?
You have to deal with the good and the bad, and it's how you deal with failure. There was days that I got out there. I'm like, I got away with murder because I had, I'm leaving stuff right down the middle and they foul it off or pop it up or, hit a, I'm like, and then there are days like, you come in from the bullpen and you say, Jesus Christ, can't touch me. And then all of a sudden you can't get a guy out, and then those, you have to deal with how do you react afterwards, after you blow off the steam, come back the next day. Mm-hmm. It's tough, because you're dealing with a lot of guys' livelihood. Whoever the starter, threw a great game. The game that sticks out to me the most, where I keep remembering, go back and forth, is the year I got traded. But right before that, we were playing
the white flag trade.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but we were playing in Fenway. Mm-hmm. And Danny Darwin is throwing a gym.
Oh, yeah.
Danny Darwin's throwing a gym. I don't know where, but the day before I went walking around and I ran into this couple. And this couple happened to be Mo Vaughn's mom and dad. And Mo Vaughn's mom came up to me. My son hates you. I'm like, excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. It said, my son Maurice. It said, Mo hates you. I'm like, Mo hates me. Is it Mo Vaughn? It said, yes. I said, what? Because he can't hit you. I said, well, that's okay. But I
gave me all he wants.
Well, then what happened? I come in the game. Danny Darwin's up 1-0. And I got Mo Vaughn in the bottom of, I think it was a bottom. I think it was 2-1 or, it was 2-1 or 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
And he hits this bomb off of me for fucking blown save.
Oh God.
And all I kept thinking about is Mo Vaughn's mom and Danny Darwin throwing an 8-inning freaking shutout that I couldn't freaking finish.
That had to hurt.
That hurt so bad I cried in the damn clubhouse.
Let me ask you.
And then Danny came over and gave me a hug. I said, "Dude, you've been doing this all year. You blew once, so be but it was just for me. It says, but Danny, it hurts to watch you pitch 8 shutout innings and me take one pitch and blow it for you. It's an emotional up and down.
Mm-hmm.
I made that a learning lesson. So after that, the next day I told Mo Vaughn, I said, Mo, you need to keep your mom away from me. The next time I'm gonna drill you. And he started laughing. And that was the only hit that some bitch ever had for me.
And he hit one big bomb.
Oh yeah.
I remember because and a lot of people attest to you threw a heavy ball, man. You really did. I don't know how hard you throw. You threw hard, but you threw a heavy ball, and it looked really effortlessly, man. I'd never seen anything like it. Very few pitchers in the league that I remember had the motion that you had, and the ball's coming out 95, 98 like it's nothing. Like it's nothing coming out of your hands, and it just looks so heavy. I've seen bats break. A lot of ground balls. My God, I've seen a lot of ground balls. And that was like your bread and butter. I mean, what made that happen to you? When did it click with you? When you were in college, it became like that?
No. Right after I had my blood clot and the operation, yeah, I worked my tail off to with my delivery to make sure that didn't happen again. So I made sure that everything I repeated my delivery. So that I would practice my delivery before the game, after we stretch, during the game in the bullpen, and then as soon as I grabbed the ball, it would just became second nature. That's why I moved over to like the first base side on the rubber so that I can get more to play with my 2-seam runner. To give me a chance to throw strike with it. Because when I was going good, it can move 3 to 4 or sometimes 6 inches, and if you're aiming for a corner and you're missing, if you're on the other side of the rubber, you might be hitting somebody in the ribs. So I'm like, let me just move over, give myself a chance. And that's when it took off.
Yeah.
And that's when, the swing and misses, the broken bats, the jam shots, stuff like that, and the catchers, Karkovic and then Carlton Fisk, he said, you throwing a Brunswick up there. What do you mean a Brunswick? It's a freaking bowling ball.
It's a bowling ball. I'm telling you, man, it was heavy. And he's not kidding. I mean, I used to really love to watch the guy pitch because when he came in, it was money.
Well, I remember the broadcast with Hawk Harrelson. It was always gas. So he's throwing gas. Yeah. It would be always the one that was throwing gas here.
Did you know I heard that they ran Hawk out of town? How about that, Roberto? Did you hear anything about that?
No, I mean, but Hawk was, Hawk was Hawk. And he, it was about time. Hawk was getting up there in age. It's just like,
still announcing so great.
Yeah, but but when you can't travel, it puts everybody gets to that point to where you have to say goodbye. I mean, I had the pleasure of meeting and playing in LA for listening to Vince Scully's voice.
Mm-hmm.
And
I could go to sleep.
And
loved
you knew it, and then meeting them in the plane, and the other one that was what was his name? He did the Phillies, and he did the voiceovers for football, the reels.
Right.
Oh yeah.
NFL films, yeah.
Yes.
I know who you're talking
and
about.
Then he's on the back of the plane and said, "That's the freaking voice."
Yeah.
The NFL films, and then you just get to the point to where
Harry Callis.
Yes.
Harry Callis.
It gets to the point. Todd Callis' freaking son.
Yep.
I mean that's his father.
Yep.
The thing is that with that and all that, I'm like, even them they have to retire.
What happened?
I gotta give you an update. A 3-run home run off of Jason
tie game.
A tie game. Alvarez with the honors there just hung a curveball up there, and the guy.
And that, my friend, is the problem with the Rays.
Is that the biggest problem that you're a bullpen guy? In your opinion, with all the injuries to this starting pitching staff, is that the scariest thing about the Rays and what they can do going forward? Is it the bullpen?
Right now, they are trying to mix and match. But you know what? You got to give the Rays the benefit of the doubt because they'll find a way to figure it out. And then they'll get healthier in the bullpen. Somebody's going to wind up coming up. I love the kid that they sent down. I don't know why they sent him down. What was it that
Taj Bradley, who's coming back up tomorrow to start?
I mean, why send them down? Keep it. That's it.
They want to gain that extra year.
That's what it comes down to, and that's what the Rays do.
It's all about that money. Roberto, I want to switch gears here real quick. I'm watching the White Sox game a little bit as we're talking here, and the White Sox, Clevenger just pitched a gem through 7, but they left him in too long. They're still winning 7-1. However, Clevenger just left the game because he's loaded the bases. And even winning 7-1, I don't feel comfortable in a game like this because they just brought in my boy Ronaldo Lopez. By the way, he's not in the 9th inning.
Right. Okay?
But bases loaded, you're bringing in Ronaldo Lopez with no outs. That just doesn't feel good to me, man.
Well,
right now, the problem is there isn't a true closer anymore because everybody keeps saying, they're going to use their best guy in the high leverage situation. I guess, that's the way, baseball teams are built now. Last one is still around. I think it's Kenley Jansen and Aroldis, and then the thing is that, sometimes they're good and sometimes they're not, because they're getting up in age and they, some of these guys are,
then what's Aroldis Chapman's problem? He still throws 102 and 103, but he's getting lit up. I watched it happen against the White Sox not even a week ago. He's still throwing the same and the movement's still there. Is it placement? What is it?
Yeah, it's nobody fears him anymore.
Okay.
That's one of the things that happens in baseball when you have teams that don't fear that person anymore. They feel comfortable that they can get a knock off of you. It doesn't matter. He can throw 105 and guys are like, so what? Let's go.
All right, my friend. We've been on with you for an hour. I really appreciate the time. We got to do this again. We definitely got to talk baseball. Roberto Hernandez, former Major League Baseball closer for various teams, including the Tampa Bay Rays. And you know what? The Mets are tied right now. We'll see what the Mets and Rays are going to do here, not only tonight, but tomorrow in that series. But once again, Roberto, thanks a lot for the time and being on.
It's my pleasure, boys. It's my pleasure.
All
Roberto,
right.
Mucho gracias, senor.
Anytime, my friend. You guys take care.
Seriously, man, you're awesome. You're always great to talk to because I tell you what, you bring everything. You're human. Everybody knows it. Everybody in the platform loves you. I mean, you just say the way it is. But the next time you come on, we got to go to Story Time with Roberto because I'm telling you what, he's got some of the best stories you've ever heard, man. Story Time with Roberto is really good. We should actually start doing that and using a podcast.
Yes.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have Story Time with Roberto.
Story Time with Roberto. Absolutely. All right, Roberto, thanks a lot for your time here on The Evolution, my friend. All right?
Take care, guys.
Take care, little brother.
Stuff there. Let's go ahead and go out to this guy right here, Mr. JC Allen.
Still no camera.
Still no camera. What's
God bless it.
Come
Still
on.
Past
no
my
camera.
bedtime, guys. I'm relaxing, laying down, watching the Celtics game right now.
Who's winning that game? I got Boston big in this game. Are they winning or no?
They're down by 4.
They are down by 4. What
quick, I gotta go out to the comments here really quick because we've been neglecting these guys. And JC, will get to the Bucs and what you learned about mini camp there. Let's go out to Coach Prime. I guess this is now Troy also second. Roger says, I've been first here since 7:15. Roger again. Troy, I see you got a new personality tonight. Coach Prime Good. Another one I can ban. That's very good, Roger. I like that.
Yeah.
Do Pete a favor, hit the like button. Absolutely. Roger says we get 100 likes, we'll get our Sports Web merch. Roger and JC. There you go. Roger, you want to talk to JC? What, you got a question tonight for the Greek or JC? Welcome to the Evolution. Roger Shue going once.
Roger. My
Roger
Greek guy.
Shue is-
Where are you, buddy?
Roger Shue is gone. So Roger Shue, okay, now he's calling back. Okay. Roger, are you
Hey,
there?
Roger.
Hey, Roger.
Yo, yo, yo.
Okay, what do you want? Did you?
Traveler,
Yes.
the Greekite is in the house.
The Greekite is in the house. Okay. All right. So
Acknowledge me.
all right, what do you want?
Look at your super chat.
Yes, $10 to the Sports Web there, the Peter Blake Fund, because a Peter is a terrible thing to waste. Thank you.
No.
Okay.
Read it correctly. Read the message.
A Greekite. I don't care. What do you want?
Read the message.
Listen, Harry Koresh is off tonight. What do you want? We got JC on.
Read the message real quick.
I read the message.
Read it to the fans so they can hear.
Oh, God.
Yes, read it to the fans.
Why do I do this for? Greek
Oh.
life. Make sure he gets it to the Greek. We'll make sure he gets it. It's in the mail. All right. What do you want?
Sure it is.
It's been an awesome show.
Thank you.
Alex did an awesome job. Can we trade him for Mancini?
No,
man. I
can't
love the
trade
Mancini
for
brothers.
Stop it. Stop with the nonsense of trading anybody. Shut up. All right. Do you have a question for JC or you just want to troll tonight, Roger?
JC, I'm looking forward to your commentary, brother. Have a great show. I'll keep watching, and you guys all have a great night.
And I don't know what's going on JC, but JC is now muted.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right. So
He was just cursing in the background.
Harry.
What'd you say, brother? Opa. Have a really good one, man. Thanks for calling in.
Spray
And,
some Windex on it.
Don't forget, bro, and spray some Windex. But remember, in Trask we trust.
Oh, shut up. All right, I'll read the comments later. I don't even care because it's mostly Troy and Roger. Roger, I thank you very much for the super chat. Troy, I don't care about your comments. I'll read them later if you want to. It's nothing but trolling at the end of the day. Everybody else, KR, thanks a lot. Evening, guys. Raise up, absolutely. Again, to update the score, 5-5. Rays with a man on third. 3-2 count. It's a pop-up, so that is not going to get it done again. Top of the 10th right now between Rays and Mets. JC, let's talk about minicamp. What did you learn coming from there? I know you were asking lots of questions, but what's the main thing you learned from minicamp here just a couple days ago?
Pretty much everything that I've heard from these guys, these players, coaches, from the team, kind of checks out. I mean, you talk about high character guys, guys with, high leadership qualities, good athleticism to boot, speed, production. Really, when you look at what the Bucs did, they went in with an agenda and they carried that agenda over into the undrafted free agency. And a lot of these guys impressed. Kalijah Cansey, just watching him do drills, man, his get off is insane. He had one play where it would have been a would-be sack if they were live. There was a low snap by one of the tryout guys, centers, to one of the tryout quarterbacks. I don't know who they were because they're irrelevant at this point.
Right.
But his get off burst through the scene. Obviously, center knew that the snap wasn't as it should have been. Probably his mind was focused on, damn, that was a bad snap. And allowed Cansey to just do his thing and get into the backfield. So that was crazy to see. You look at Cody Mock, mostly started was at right guard the entire time when they went to team drills. He's got the size, strength, athleticism. They did some double team drills, and his ability to, again, offensive line, defensive line's tough to really gauge anything, especially on the defensive side, because you don't have pads on, you're not hitting, but his ability to, drive back a blocker and move to the next level was on full display. Yeah, Diaby is a tank. I mean, his size just stands out, and with 4.5 speed to boost with it behind it, I think he's got a real shot at making some noise his rookie year. I'm not boasting like rookie of the year or anything, but a solid contributor as a rotational role. I definitely see that.
JC,
happening.
hold on. Update here. We got a hit by the Tampa Bay Rays. It's Harold Ramirez, and now
No
it
one
is
cares.
6-5. We
Tell me
do
about it.
care, JC. We shut up both of you at this point.
Let's talk Buccaneers football.
Red Sox beat the Mariners 12-3.
The White Sox are winning 7-1. Both
Hey,
Sox teams are
Both
winning.
of your
So
Sox can. Oh, okay, I'm not going to go there. I will say this, JC. Okay,
the Sox.
get Sox. Okay. So, JC, I appreciate the commentary there. Harry, I got to ask you because this story came out. I thought of you, but you weren't here the other night. But DraftKings came out with a story and said that the Bucs were only favored in one game out of 17. I want to get your thoughts on this, professional handicapper extraordinaire. And then, JC, were you surprised by it? First, Harry, go.
I'll answer this for both JCA and me. Horse caca. Anybody that can predict games and spreads throughout the whole season without seeing an injury report, horse caca. That's it. JCA, would you like to elaborate any deeper on that, or did I really just do this pretty well?
I mean,
that was great analysis there.
It's
paying off.
Clicks. It's just for clicks at this point. A lot of those games you look at, it was a 1 point difference between them. I think the over under right now is at 6.5. I would take the over on that.
Definitely.
But I don't think, one game I don't see happening. And you look at this team nationally, everyone's down on this Bucs team. Everyone's writing them off. And that's going to do nothing but motivate this team. That's going to do nothing but put a chip on their shoulder. You look at the roster, it's still a very talented roster. You look at the situation that the Bucs are in on defense, very talented defense, offense still very talented. Yes, there's questions at offensive line. Yes, there's questions at quarterback, but these guys are acting like, they're coming into the season with, Mitchell Trubisky and Kenny Pickett. I don't think
leave Trubisky. That's not nice.
I just don't think
that's a good comment because that really ruffles your yeah, well, he's starting like all right.
Yeah, I just don't think that's the case.
It's Trubisky.
Well, until he plays the Bucs defense.
Don't make me do it, Peter.
And you look at this schedule here, Harry, and go back to you, JC, in a moment. We talk about the road games here, but if you really look at it, the Bucs are playing a lot of young quarterbacks, so that may be an advantage. Right. Once again, update here. Ray score again 7-5 as the guy is tagged out. Josh Lowe with the honor. So now 7-5 going into the bottom of the 10th there. But Harry, you think that is an advantage playing all these young quarterbacks where people are saying, you know what, they can't win these games. Why not? They're young quarterbacks, even though the Bucs somewhat in their history have struggled versus young quarterback, which you don't know why. Is that an advantage in your opinion?
It can
Horse
be.
Caca.
Oh,
Horse caca.
I'm just watching the Celtics, and horse caca is happening right now.
Okay, what's going on with the Celtics game?
95-87, missing shots, just second chance opportunities. Letting Jimmy Butler get his own rebounds multiple times and letting him sink a three.
If Boston loses this game, JCA, if they lose this game, I'm just going to double up in the next game. It's just really simple.
They're only down
zero
by
chance.
6.
Let me tell you something. I love Jimmy Buckets. He's probably playing the best basketball of anybody in the NBA right now.
Off the court right now with the injury.
He's done. Peter, I got to fly, brother, because I know JCA is going to want to talk. Oh, yeah, turnbuckle crap. I mean, turnbuckle talk is coming real quick with the Mancini brothers.
What?
I love them ball.
Well, you're supposed to stay on it and talk turnbuckle talk tonight with me, Harry the Great.
Oh, no. I got to feed I got to feed my cats.
So you rather feed your cats than talk wrestling. All right.
They're hungry, man.
Go on to promote yourself.
Don't let me get PETA coming out here and protesting your show because my poor cats are hungry for over an hour. I mean, that's like cat abuse.
Before you get on the show there, genius. Now go on and promote yourself there.
Promote myself. That's about all I can actually think of. JCA, it's really nice having you on this evening. I'd love to hang out with you, man. You're awesome to get on with. And Peter, I understand he's completely lost it. I'm Harry the Greek. Keep your bets low and your returns high. Appreciate you guys having me on. Love talking with Roberto tonight. Have fun with the Mancini brothers this evening. And by the way, he can't get in here and defend himself. The Pittsburgh Steelers will finish mid in their division, and the Pittsburgh Pirates have zero chance of winning that division. So have a great day. Deuces, brother.
Oh my goodness.
I love our guys. I do. We're on with JC Allen of Pewter Report, talking Bucs football, also updating the Rays score. Once again, 7-5. Your Tampa Bay Rays are up on the Mets, bottom of the 10th. Fairbanks in the pitch, of course, coming off the IL. Hopefully this guy is your eventual starter, because Jason Adam, he didn't have it tonight. We got Ralph Williams in the lobby. We'll be getting out to turnbuckle talk here. Let's see, Ralph. The Steelers re-signed Mason Rudolph. Bye-bye, Mitch. Cody Mock is going to be a great player for the Bucs. Christopher Cole says good stuff. JC says coming in hot. With that being said, let's talk about the running back situation. Sean Tucker wearing 44. First and foremost, I want to know the significance of Sean wearing the 44 from Syracuse. Why is that significant with him wearing that number?
Yeah, so it was a fun story that I dug up, that, he wanted to wear 44 there. A lot of fans really wanted him to wear 44, but the number 44 was retired. Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, and there's another one I can't think of on the top of my head.
Floyd Little.
Yes. So, very storied history as far as running backs go with that program. So it was retired. He wanted to wear it. He said he'd be open to wear it if it was unretired. They never did it. So he just wrote out 34. So him wearing 34. So him wearing 44 with the Bucs, he finally gets to don that number. And there really hasn't been any really truly impactful 44s with the Bucs in their history. Now, I'm not saying Sean Tucker is going to be impactful, but you look at what he did in college, over 3,000 yards from scrimmage. He was just a beast as a running back there. Obviously went undrafted because he had some, heart condition that popped up. But to my knowledge, he's recovering from that. He's going to be fully cleared and ready to go probably by training camp. And, you look at him, he's built sturdy. He's kind of, stocky guy. And I think he's going to really compete for a potential, that number 2, number 3 spot when he is able to get on the field. Yeah. So good pickup by the Bucs. Could have been, some people had him as, their top 5 running back in the draft as early as the 2nd round. No later really than the 5th round was he mocked. And to have him fall undrafted because of that issue, the Bucs felt comfortable signing him, gave him a large bonus, larger than most 5th round picks get. They did the same thing with Raheem Jarrett, the wide receiver out of Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta think they're high on his prospects of being able to help them contribute on the football field this year. He's got to do it. He's got to prove the competition, the jump's not too steady, and that he can stay healthy. But if he can, the Bucs got themselves a nice deal.
What about Cade Warner? He says in his press conference he's the smartest receiver in this draft. What do you make of him? What did you see out of him? And do you think this organization is impressed? Could he be a guy that hooks on and is an undrafted free agent? We've seen it before. Guys not necessarily big enough, fast enough, but for some reason they're able to get open. They're intelligent. Plus, he had a father that played in the game. Is there an opportunity for him to make this team, in your opinion?
Yeah, he's going to have to show it on special teams. That's where he's going to make it. But, his ability, his best ability was his availability to his quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Just being able to locate the soft zones in a defense and get there in a hurry to give the quarterback an outlet. And, with these tryout rookie quarterbacks, they're not really forcing the ball down the field too much. It's mostly short passes, underneath passes. And there was one play in particular that really stood out to me. In positional drill, solid hands, didn't drop a ball. But there was a situation where he was almost in triple coverage because it was so close to the line of scrimmage and the defenders were so grouped together. Now he would have got his he would have got his block knocked off if it was a live drill. But to find that small area in between 3 defenders to come away with a catch was just indicative of what he did in college and what his role is going to be in the NFL if he sees the field, throughout his career. Is just that possession guy who's going to be a solid outlet for the quarterback. He's not going to wow you. Going to use his smarts and to be able to separate. And be able to make those tough catches. And that's what I saw on day 2 of rookie minicamp. pretty impressive. And, you look at it, he comes from, as you said, his dad was the ultimate underdog story, bagging groceries, NFL Europe, walk on into
from the Arena League. True story.
Right. Yeah. I mean, go watch American Underdog?
Yep.
Just go watch that movie, and that's all you need to know about
Oh
Kurt
my
Warner
God.
and his career.
I got a terrible update here for Rays fans. It is over. Pete Fairbanks has blown it as the Mets have won the game on Pete Alonso's 15th home run of the season, a 3-run shot, and the Mets beat the Tampa Bay Rays 8-7. All right. With that being said, the Rays game is over. They lose to the Mets, so we'll see if they can take the series tomorrow with the kid Taj Bradley pitching. Let's go out to the guys here. The madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini, former XPW announcer. You better stop. You better stop looking at me like that, because I know what you're about to say. Your Pittsburgh Pirates won tonight. The Rays lost. What do you got to say there, Mancini?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm excited, my friend. I'm really excited. The Pirates won. They scored more than 4 runs.
Well, there you go. Good luck to you, and I guess we'll acknowledge that.
Acknowledge me.
Although Harry the Greek says you have no chance, your team has no chance to win that division.
I want to start this show off, and I love JC. I love you. I love Harry. I love Ralph Williams. But why am I force-fed another NFC North, Chicago, Green Bay on a Monday night? I tried to talk to Daniel Orsino on the Moving the Chains last night about this. Why am I force-fed with these NFC North foes?
JC, can you make some sense of this? I know you covered the Bucs for Petwer Report, but you look around the NFL, you lose Aaron Rodgers. Why are the Packers all of a sudden in the national contention? I mean, wouldn't they take a step back? Wouldn't they have no primetime games? Why is everybody interested in the Packers once again this year?
The Packers, because they've won championships at a high level since the beginning of the NFL. They're still a team, much like the Cowboys. They're one of these darling teams that have a large fan base. The fan base travels well. So that's pretty much why. They're going to lean on their running game a lot. They've got some young wide receivers, got a solid defense, and that NFC North is, I don't want to say it's wide open, but it is kind of wide open in that sense, where I think the Lions are the early favorites right now, just because of Dan Campbell and the coaching staff and kind of what they put together. No one trusts Kirk Cousins to do anything when it matters. So, I mean, they're probably right behind them. But in the Packers, we'll see if they can make some noise. They've got a good head coach who doesn't have to placate his, future Hall of Fame quarterback. They really like what they have in Jordan Love. And I think it's just one of those things where, you're going to get really, it's like the Patriots, they have a bunch too. The Patriots, the Packers, the 49ers, the Cowboys, just teams that have really strong fan bases because of past success and recent success. And they're always going to get those primetime games.
Makes lots of sense, JC. I tell you what, let's go ahead and get this guy on here. The bodyguard of the Berg, newest radio personality in Pittsburgh, Mr. Ralph Williams.
Yeah.
Welcome to
what's up, fellas?
Your turnbuckle talk. What do you have to say? Are you talking baseball? What are we talking about tonight besides wrestling? What do you have to say? Welcome to the Evolution.
Thank you. I will tell you this much. The Steelers re-signed Mason Rudolph. Mitch Trubisky's on his way out the door. I got a couple sources that told me that. We're going to take it $8 million and sign a few more free agents to shore up a couple things. Also, we have three rookie undrafted quarterbacks. One of them will be our third string quarterback. That's number one. Number two, as far as the Pirates go, it's the same old Pirates back and forth. But we'll see what they do. I think they're gonna reach 500. I don't think they're gonna win the division. I think they'll make 500 this year, and I'll be satisfied with that.
All right, let's get into it, gentlemen. Turnbuckle talk here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. 1,000-day mark. It looks like Roman Reigns is going to hit that. Night of Champions, of course, it takes place in Saudi Arabia on May 27th. So you go from Puerto Rico, which was highly successful, a Backlash, and a lot of wrestlers are suggesting that you put that there. Let's start with there, JC. And Mark, and of course Ralph, would you put Backlash from now on every year in Puerto Rico with that turnout and and the response that they had there?
I think you still rotate it. There's plenty of opportunity to go to other countries. Obviously, there was a strong showing in Backlash, but like you can't. I just don't think you can be like, okay, every year we're gonna have Backlash and every year we're gonna have Bad Bunny on.
Right.
I just don't think that's something you can necessarily do.
Or Zelina Vega?
God, no.
Right. All right.
Oh no.
What? Yeah, Boston lost.
No, Robert Williams is down, and Jaylen Brown is holding his wrist and his arm.
Oh, man. All right. Well, there you go. There's some more updates. Some bad news for you. Bad news for me. Again, you're a Rays fan. You're watching on Rays Up. The Mets just beat the Rays 8-7 in extra innings off of Pete Fairbanks. Pete Alonso, local kid, 3-run shot for the Rays to lose. We'll see if they can finish it up.
Hey, Peter, I got some breaking news here real quick. I don't know if you know
news
this or not.
also? I mean, is this like Bad News Bear tonight? Well, what is this going on?
Oh, yeah.
I got some bad news.
I got some bad news. Superstar Billy Graham passed away.
Oh,
yep, 79 years old, I would have to say
And
here.
he was having some health issues, too. So
we're all wrestling fans here. I mean, the influence is there. You could see it with Hulk Hogan. You could see it with Triple H. Of course, going into the Hall of Fame. A lot of people were talking about, off the ring stuff, but definitely prayers out to his family with losing him. Not necessarily a good night, again, for bad news. With that being said,
yeah.
What do we think?
I got some other bad news.
Jeez. Okay, go ahead, Ralph.
Randy Orton's retiring.
Is that official? True? I haven't seen that official.
Yeah. His dad was on a couple podcasts this week and said, and I quote, "My son's retiring. The doctors have advised him to retire due to that he had that fusion in his spine, and he had some issues after the surgery. So, what's going to happen?
I haven't seen that officially announced. I saw what you're talking about. I also saw that he said that Randy's going to do what Randy's going to do. I haven't seen an official word that Randy Orton is absolutely retiring.
I want to read these comments, guys, from Cowboy Bob Orton here. He's training so well. We'll see what happens. I don't know. He tells Sports Kita here, if he feels like he's ready to go back, I think he might. But again, he's pretty well taken care of. I don't think he needs to. And I think the doctors have told him not to. But Randy will do what Randy wants to do. Of course, This is mentioned. It's not official. He does make a lot of money. I mean, let's start there also. JC, what do you think if Randy Orton does walk away? Could it be an Edge situation where he retires and then he comes back in another 9 or 10 years? He's still in great shape. Could you see a situation, or, what's left for Randy Orton? What's his legacy in your opinion?
Well, I mean, he's a legend killer. I mean, Randy Orton's done everything there is to do in this business. I don't think he necessarily needs to come back to prove to anybody anything other than himself that, he can come back from this injury. With Orton, I don't think he comes back in the Edge type-esque thing. He's 43 now. He said he wanted to be done wrestling by the age of 50. So if it's something that maybe he takes a couple more years off and he comes back for a match, I know he wants to have a retirement match and go out that way. So it's going to be interesting, really. I think it really kind of all depends on his health. He's been working hard to get back. And these wrestlers, they know the risks involved. They obviously they risk their body, and Randy's done it more than in more ways than some. His career started with an injury. If you go back to him and Batista, really kind of starting that blow up of Evolution. They both went down in the same match against the Dudleys. And
terrible match, by the way. Yes, terrible.
Right. That's because the Dudleys didn't want to work with him. They hated him.
Right.
But I mean, I think when you look at it in that sense, he's got to do what's best for him health wise. But if there's a chance for him to come back and not really injure himself in a way where it's going to be detrimental, I definitely see him making that push to come back.
Mark.
Well, I think, like JC said, he's a legend killer. I mean, he's done so much, and you might be right, Peter. It might be something like Edge coming back, every now and then, kind of making an appearance, maybe a run-in or something, whether it's a heel or a face. But I like to know what's going to go on with his partner there, Riddle. I mean, this guy might be trying to get in the porn business. It seems like exposing himself.
Oh my
on,
goodness, we're
what-
going
what's
off the rails here now.
Yeah,
Randy Orton to
what's
Riddle
going on
jerking
with
off.
that guy? What's going on with Riddle?
He's dating a porn star, and I don't know what he's doing off the mat. Hopefully, he's not getting back into what he got into before.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think
Right.
if I can chime in a minute, I think it stunk from the beginning when Riddle came in the WWE, the accusations of an assault or a rape charge. And I don't know if the WWE looked the other way, but then all of a sudden we saw the flip-flops and the lifeguard look, and he's kind of made himself, famous with, Randy Orton there, RK Bro. But then we hear the latest now with going viral with him exposing himself. It's kind of like, well, maybe we go back to when we first were introduced to this guy in the WWE. I don't know. You guys
and you make a great point, because all that stuff is kind of taking away from his great wrestling ability and how much he's over. And I feel like, maybe some of that stuff, not only the injury, but also some of the stuff off the mat, is taking away from his great wrestling ability. Right, Ralph?
Yes, absolutely. And, Matt Riddle's a good wrestler, but it's really sad that he gets involved in some of this silly stuff and, exposing himself on social media. And, and it's just amazing the stuff he does. And I don't think the rehab did him any good. And I think he's going to probably be out the door. Creative don't have anything much for him to do. He just teamed up with the tag team champs, but we're going to find out.
Yeah, I disagree too, JC. And he's too good of a young talent. They're going to find something for him.
I know what he's going to do. This is what's going to end up happening. I don't think that him exposing himself is going to be any more but a funny click in the blurb of his wrestling career.
Right.
They pandered to Saudi Arabia. And gave Mustafa Ali this opportunity to go against Gunther. I think the next logical step, based on his interaction, is that we're going to get a buildup of Riddle versus Gunther coming up here after Night of Champions, and then probably eventually lead to a situation where maybe Bronson Reed has a run in with Gunther as well, or maybe it's with Riddle. One of these things, depending on their direct. I know Gunther's going to be going for the heavyweight title soon. I wouldn't be surprised to see him drop the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam, and then start making a run with Seth Rollins and maybe happenings around Survivor Series or something like that. I just, maybe it's multiple titles. I don't know, some title matches leading up there, but they definitely see Gunther as a potential face of the business. But you got to strip that Intercontinental Championship off of him. I can see Riddle being in that mix doing it. I can see Bronson Reed in that mix doing it. So, I don't think Riddle is being buried by any means. Obviously, he was a good performer with RK Bro, but there's still a lot more for Riddle left to do. He's over with the fans, and I just don't think that an accidental exposing of himself, whether that was leaked or whether that was himself, whatever. There's a saying in show business.
Lots of exposing and stripping when you were talking.
Right. No publicity is bad publicity.
Well,
it got people talking about the WWE. Maybe it got people to tune in to see this Riddle dude. I just don't think
here's the thing, and we can agree to disagree, but JC, I look at Riddle like a middle of the pack guy. I mean, yeah, okay, we see him, but we've seen Ricochet too do great.
When was Ricochet's last title shot against Roman Reigns?
But these kind of guys.
When was he last involved with the Bloodline? Riddle is not a middle of the card guy. They are trying to build him to be a contender. They're putting a lot more weight on the Intercontinental Championship and the United States Championship. Riddle has been involved in stories with the Bloodline. He's been involved with RK Bro. Ricochet has been involved with Braun Strowman. I mean, you name the middle card guys. The Miz, these guys, I just don't.
Riddle to me, when I look at the middle of the pack, he'll never hit the upper echelon of a Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens.
I don't know, Mark. I don't know
that about Kofi Kingston and Jinder Mahal and all these other guys who had title runs.
I think he's got great talent, and I think Roman Reigns, as we talk about, is moving on to Hollywood. Let's save this thought, gentlemen, because we got a special guest here who decided
I
to call
agree with
Turnbuckle Talk.
with one of them. I agree with one of the Mancini brothers.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right, Harry. I'm sure you do. The Mancini brothers. What do you want?
You've been eating the Mancini bread out of Pittsburgh.
I love it.
I got a low fear.
Mancini brothers. Ralph, no disrespect.
Oh.
If we call you guys the Mancini brothers, it's like you could tag team people.
Oh God.
That's right.
You know.
That's exactly right, Harry. It was good to see you with a microphone and a headset tonight.
All right. Great stuff there, Harry. What else do you want to add to this?
Oh, Ralph, that's really
He's got nothing of
substance.
He's going to tell us. He's
Nothing
going to
at
tell
all.
us why Chicago and Green Bay should be on a Monday night.
well, I just wanted to call up and say Dick the Bruiser, Dusty Rhodes, and Hulk Hogan. That's
All right.
the
Enough
extent
of
it.
you. All right. Thanks a lot for the time.
Hey, Stacks Calhoun.
I can't wait for week 3 when the Bears play the Bucs.
Don't encourage him at all. We're on Turnbuckle Talk. We got JC Allen along with the madman himself, former XPW announcer Mark Mancini, and of course the bodyguard of the Berg, Ralph Williams. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about as this show goes off the rails just a little bit here. What do we think here, gentlemen? And I'll start with you, JC. Solo Sequoia with, of course, Roman Reigns.
Was he a tree nowadays?
Huh?
Sequoia.
Sequoia? Did I say Sequoia?
Yeah.
Sequoia.
You know, it really has been late tonight, both of you guys. I'm going to, okay. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Sequoia, not Sequoia, and not Christian Okoye. And, of course, Roman Reigns. JC, what do you think? Help me out here.
You know, I think this could be a situation where we start to see even more, kinks in the armor.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised to see Roman the one get pinned in this match.
Sure.
And maybe it happens at the expense of Jimmy or Jay trying to interfere. Now, I think Sammy would be the one to pin Roman. His first pin, obviously, since God knows when. Obviously, it wouldn't be for the titles, but I think that's something that could create even a bigger crack in the bloodline. I don't see them walking out. I don't see Roman 4 belts coming anytime soon. I know that there's a handful of contenders for this title, starting with the Judgment Day. I think we're getting DIY back together here soon as well with Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. So, there's another tag team that can make a run for it. They're still defending titles on both. I mean, they've got to defend titles on both shows as of right now, as the Undisputed, unless, something happens here in the future and they split the belts up. We'll see. If they were wrestling for just one of the titles, maybe Roman would have came away with one, but I think this is another way to continue to develop this storyline of the bloodline falling apart. Ultimately, it came out today that Roman is going to be doing even less wrestling,
right,
and could be taking a step away if Hollywood is starting to call up. And he hasn't. I don't know if he's found a role that he wants or anything like that. But if that happens, we're going to see less of Roman, even more part time. And this is a way to start that process of, knocking him down. I don't necessarily know if Cody's the one to do it. Maybe it's Jay. I think a Jay and a Solo feud is probably coming here down the line soon.
Right.
We got the storyline, they're brothers, blah, blah, blah. So it's just going to be interesting to see what they do. But I think for me as a fan and as a logical choice, I think Sammy pinning Roman Reigns to retain their titles would be a perfect setup to a storyline to further the bloodline falling apart.
Well, and I think you're right about that. And I think Sammy and Kevin should go over on them, of course. And I think it will set up, a future feud with the wrestlers that you talked about. I still think it's going to be Cody that's going to take the belt off of him. And it should be. Hopefully it's WrestleMania and it's not like SummerSlam, because I feel like, it loses that luster mark at the end of the day. And then Roman Reigns is going to Hollywood. He's going to do, Fast and the Furious 25, where they, jump out of a boat or something. I don't know.
Well, they go to Mars.
Well,
Yeah,
here's
right.
what it is, guys. Sola Sokoa reminds me of the big Indian guy in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He doesn't say much. He just stands there a lot, looks around like a totem pole. But I will tell you, what's best for business,
That's great.
I'll use it one more time. What's best for business is keeping that belt around Roman Reigns, and he ain't going to get
Mark,
pinned.
is it, Mark? I mean, really?
Here's the thing.
Here's
the thing. He's on. We all knew he was going to be part of SmackDown because SmackDown, I think, and we could totally disagree on this, but Fox is paying the bill on that SmackDown. So it's nice to see Roman Reigns did not go over to Raw. They wanted him on Friday Night SmackDown for a reason, and that was one of the reasons. And I told you guys this before. It wasn't going to be Rhodes that was going to take the belt. They're not going to get pinned by Owens. There might be interference that JC says, and I know Ralph's alluded to, by the bloodline as far as Jay and Jimmy, because they haven't taken it kindly. But Roman Reigns is not going to get pinned here, and he's not losing no belt till WrestleMania, where I think they're going to have a big guy, whether it's CM Punk or, it could be Rock coming in there. You can't lose. I mean, I'm just telling you that whether he's doing movies or not, we've seen Cena do movies and come back and wrestle too part-time.
He's got to lose. He's got to lose. The Rock had to lose when he went to Hollywood. He had to lose to Brock Lesnar. That's the next guy. If your next guy is Cody Rhodes, and that is the storyline, Mark and JC and Ralph, that you built up, you got to put the belt on Cody Rhodes, or the storyline doesn't make any sense. Am I correct about this, Ralph?
Yes, absolutely. Cody Rhodes needs to have the belt. We'll see what happens. Seth Rollins is also in line for some movies and stuff. He might be walking away as well, but we'll see what goes on with him. But yeah, you're right. I think Cody Rhodes should be the new champ. Survivor Series comes up, and Roman Reigns goes up against Cody Rhodes, and the brands against brands, and they're going to have a War Games again, and it's going to be interesting.
JC says he's doing Captain America. What did you get that at?
No, Seth Rollins is doing Captain America.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he is.
There you go.
He's in the new Captain America movie.
Let's go out to the tribal troll here. Let's acknowledge him really quick.
Acknowledge me.
Roger Shue, you're on with JC Allen, Ralph Williams, and, of course, the Madman Mark Mancini. What do you have to say?
Breaking news in wrestling world. Our hearts are broken. The superstar Billy Graham dead at 82.
Yeah, I know. We covered that, and it was 79. I think somebody said it was 79. So 82, 79, we covered it. Yeah, I mean, you give me your best memory of Superstar. What's your best memory of him?
Superstar and Bruno.
Okay. All right. What else?
Is Rich Hugh drinking some Iron Cities?
Shut up, Mark. What, Roger? What did you say?
I'm not saying anything to these jabronis.
Cronies. Oh, watch out, man.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Call me a crony. Yeah, goodbye.
He shouldn't drink before
I got a match that I saw. It was a cage match. Superstar Billy Graham versus Ivan Putski. So there you are.
All right, I can't keep it together here, JC, Mark, and of course Ralph, because Roger, I love Roger to death, but he really is a tribal troll here. You're on the sports web. The new combination of UFC, and it was called Endeavor, is now called TKO Group Holdings, and it is valued at $20 billion. JC, what do we think of this? Is this going to work? Are they going to cross-promote each other, or are they going to keep all businesses separate?
I mean, you look at the WWE has always been more than willing to take guys who want to move on from UFC into WWE. Obviously, Riddle, Brock. Brock got his start at WWE, then made the switch. Bobby Lashley. So if there's someone that wants to make that crossover, I think they'll be all for it. Obviously, the hottest name attached to them right now is Conor McGregor. I can see them doing something like that. I don't think it's going to be necessarily crossover matches, but if a guy from UFC, doesn't want to be in that aspect anymore, knows he can make good money, really good money by going over to the WWE, even if it's a part-time, four-time a Logan Paul type, 4 time a year type thing. I can definitely see that happening. But as far as all right, well, hey, what do you want to have Riddle come fight in the UFC this weekend, and you want to have I don't know, Masvidal or whatever his name is come fight in WWE? Like I don't think that's gonna happen. But
Right.
these are two guys in Dana White and Vince McMahon who have some troubling pasts, but are sound businessmen and make sound business decisions to propel their company forward into the future. When you talk about MMA, nobody talks about any other league but UFC. When you talk about wrestling, WWE is still the top dog, even though AEW is, continuing to make strides to somewhat compete with them, even by stealing WWC Nitro's logo for their new AEW Collision. But I still think at the end of the day, you're looking at a situation where there'll be separate entities. But again, if guys from UFC want to cross over into WWE, it's going to be a lot easier for them to do so.
All right, my man, what do you say here? UFC, WWE, do you keep it separate? Do you have some type of coming together collaboration that works for both parties, or is it good to keep it separate because you got different fans at the end of the day?
Well, I like what JC. I'm going to give him a nickname. He speaks softly and carries a big stick.
He does.
Yeah, I like that about him.
Man.
Yeah. What I look at this is if you're going to transform this into one and you're going to carry over people, I think the first thing you got to look at is personalities when you're making a transformation. You got to find out, you can't have the big Popeyes, big brutes. No knock against Braun Strowman, but you need mic skills. Guys that sell the sport are guys with mic skills, guys that can talk and handle the crowd and hold their own. There's not enough of those guys, and it's far and few between. So I think the development process, what they do in UFC and what they do in the WWE, to me, is two different things. More or less, the UFC is more of a fighting thing. They talk a little, but the WWE is mostly buildups. So if you're going to transformation this into one, you got to define the mic skills is the first thing in order of business. How I would do it if I own that business.
Ralph, what do you say?
I say the same thing Mark says, but it would be interesting to see Conor McGregor fight one of the champions. Also, everyone forgot about Ken Shamrock and Steve Blackman. They were once in UFC
okay,
as well.
That's good. That's very good in their heyday and the Attitude Era. JC, you remember it all too well. Both of those wrestlers were absolutely relevant. With that being said, we just talked about it. Collision, Warner Brothers Discovery has announced 2023 upfront presentation today. TNT will launch a second night of professional wrestling with a new 2-hour series. Again, it's AEW Collision starting on Saturday, June 17th at 8 p.m. JC, what do we think of this? Is this what AEW needs, a second night of wrestling? Actually, what is it, a third night? Because I thought they also had, it's a third night. So, a third night.
And their elevation.
YouTube.
Yeah, I don't think anybody watches that anymore. I don't even think it's on because they took it off. But JC, is this what AEW needs?
They have a deep roster. I've been a proponent of WWE creating a third brand. So I could definitely see it working out for AEW. Supposedly this is taking over. What is it? Not Dynamite. What's the other one that they have there?
I don't even know what it's called anymore.
Rampage.
This
is supposed to be taking over Rampage. Fightful Select came out with a story this afternoon saying that Warner Brothers Discovery has said that CM Punk is not going to be part of that debut episode. He's not listed any of the promotional material. Now, whether this is a situation to kind of build him up, as a return or something like that, I'm not sure. But comment from Warner Brothers Discovery to Comic Book today was that CM Punk is not affiliated with TNT's AEW Collision. So that's something that the rumors were all about, Collision being centered around Punk. And now it looks like, again, this could just be, as we say in the NFL, coach speak, and kind of setting up a big return for him. But, I think the shift to make it on Saturdays makes some sense. you're not competing directly with the WWE, and it gives viewers more option and more television to watch, wrestling television to watch. Whether it's successful or not, that's just going to remain to be seen. We'll see. I know Tony thinks that he's making a huge jump with Wembley and really coming for the WWE, but at the end of the day, they've still got a long way to go before they're going to rival what the WWE can do.
Mark, what do you say?
Well, I'm gonna bust this wide open here, and I'm gonna break down the way if I was gonna do a third one and I was running WWE, I don't need an extra hour of Kevin Patrick and the Judgment Day on Monday nights. I'm just axing that right out.
You hate that.
I'm falling asleep the last hour anyhow, and I really don't care. I love Friday Night SmackDown. I'm involved in that. I'll watch it all the way up till the 10 o'clock hour. You know what you do with that extra hour that Kevin Patrick and the Judgment Day are force-fed down my throat like some bad spinach? You put Saturday night's main event back on. That's what you do for the extra hour, and then you'll get a real audience. You don't need 3 hours of Raw, guys. 2 hours of SmackDown. Give me an hour of Saturday night's main event. Writers are on strike.
Does that go for AEW? Have you had enough? Do you need another 2 hours on Saturday for AEW?
No, I don't need no 2 hours of that. You can build up storylines, bring crossover, maybe get some of them guys coming over to WWE in more ways than one. But I don't know. I just bring back Saturday night's main event and cut the hour off of Raw. How can you guys sit there and watch Kevin Patrick and the Judgment Day another hour?
I know you hate it, Ralph. 2 more hours of AEW, and then we're gonna finish off with CM Punk stories here, and then we're gonna get JC out of here. But Ralph, 2 more
Saturday
hours.
night's main event, Mark, is on Peacock on Saturday nights. I don't know what time. Also, this new show that AEW is having, this Collision. They're putting this show together because they have to. They have too many wrestlers, guys, and they have no space to put them on. They have no creative mind for them. Some of them are wasting away. So I was told Miro's going to be on that show. They're going to have Andrade on there, Charlotte Flair's husband, the House of Black, who are the trios champions. You don't even see them around. So they need another show to put these wrestlers on. And then they keep on putting ROH stuff in there. Keep ROH a separate brand. Keep it doing something else. Don't keep crossing them over like that. And now they're talking about splitting brands up too, and doing a draft like the WWE. They're talking about that. AEW just copies everything WWE does anyway.
Yeah.
And there we are.
All right, so I tell you what, let's finish off with this, gentleman, because I know JC's got to get out of here. I don't want to stay on all night. It's been a great show, as always. Turnbuckle Talk. CM Punk tells fans, go touch grass. He says, look, everyone, Brian Alvarez doesn't like it when misinformed internet trolls make up rumors about him. So please stop making up rumors and stories for clicks while Brian makes up rumors and stories for clicks, okay? He also says, wow. I don't know where to start here. Alvarez has a family. Punk went on to remind Ryan fans, that Alvarez has a family before challenging Alvarez to a Brian Alvarez shut the F up and stop talking about me challenge day one. He also says to the fringe wrestling fans, friendly reminder, I haven't been on TV for 9 months. Y'all still just can't stop talking about me. I don't enjoy being the sole person that props up entire misinformed clickbait industry based on toxic gossip from lying sources. But what can you do when you're the king? It comes with the crown. JC, your thoughts, because this to me seems like a major storyline. They're just following up. He's saying he's not coming to AEW. It's all false. And I'm telling you right now, he's going to probably be the first guy out there on AEW Collision.
Yeah, this is all just build up kayfabe storytelling here. We see it all the time with all these wrestlers, and CM Punk is one of the best at breaking down that fourth wall. Obviously, his pipe bomb is legendary, and this just is another example of him. Getting the people to continue to talk about him. There's no denying his talent as a wrestler.
None.
People want to see him whether that's on AEW, whether that's AEW. And this is, I think, is just one of these, him just being CM Punk, taking advantage of any publicity he can to stir up any, I don't want to say drama, but any, just publicity.
Yep.
And it's CM Punk. Does anyone expect anything less?
Good point, JC. Madman, go ahead, respond.
Well, no, and you bring up interesting points. It's another guy that can handle mic skills. Jealousy's human nature. They can hate him for what he's worth, and he could be the lone wolf like Baron Corbin was when he first came in. But you know what? This is a guy that knows how to stir the pot and create the controversy, brash. People come to see these type of guys, and he can hold his own. I mean, he really can. You bring him into the WWE, which I think eventually he'll find his way back in. You can get some big storylines with some guys. I mean, a CM Punk, a Kevin Owens, you get a Roman Reigns thing going, a Rhodes. There's some things here. I'm for the guys with the mic skills. Talent's good, but somebody that can control a crowd and egg it on and get that heat, that's the kind of guy I'm liking.
I like it. Ralph, what do you say?
I'd say the same thing Mark does. Somebody with mic skills, and CM Punk. He has great mic skills, and he could stir up the pot anytime he wants.
All right, absolutely, guys. And we saw a great match, a great cage match last week with, of course, Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega, which ended up with Don Callis turning on Kenny Omega, which was a shocking development. We'll see how that transpires. I think Mark just went to sleep. JC, go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution.
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Twitter at JC Allen NFL. Follow all of our work over at Petwer Report, PetwerReport.com, Petwer Report TV on YouTube, all of our podcasts. We're going to start having some players on there, so definitely stay tuned to that. See what we got coming up. As always, breaking down the latest Bucs information, Bucs news. We got OTAs coming up soon, and then we have rookie mandatory mini camp followed by that, all within the next month here. So a lot of stuff going on. Next week is the start of OTAs. We'll have access to the Wednesday practice. The following week, we'll have another access. And then the following week, we'll have another access to that before 3 days of mandatory minicamp. So we'll have you covered there. Otherwise, always a pleasure to pop on here, talk some Bucs, talk some wrestling. With that being said, have a good night, guys.
All right, JC Allen
Have
up
a good
here.
one, JC.
Thanks a
Thank
lot
you.
for your time, my friend, on Turnbuckle Talk, all right?
All right, later, guys.
All right, later. I guess Mark disappeared, so Ralph, go ahead and promote yourself.
Ralph Williams 737 at gmail.com. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and also I have my own YouTube channel. Please subscribe. I still need 2 more to make 100.
All right.
And also June 20th, Beaver County Radio around the greater Pittsburgh area, 5 to 6 p.m. Sports Corner with myself and Smoking Jim Frazier. Ralph Goes Radio. I'm all set.
All right, good stuff, my friend. Ralph Williams, thanks a lot for your time
Thank
here
you.
on the Evolution,
You're
my friend. All right, let me go ahead and come out to Mark Mancini. Go ahead and promote yourself as you went black there for a minute.
Yeah, these calls, man, they started bugging you. You got to tell them, hey, listen, I'm not done with a show yet. Peter Blake's show, Tampa comes first, man.
I love it.
XM 203, Sirius 217, WWDB-AM 860 out of Philadelphia, Pittsburgh Pirate Podcast with Derek Brock, San Francisco Giants podcast with Alex Berg, all these other podcasts, and these great show on Wednesdays with you, brother. The show that's sweeping Tampa. I love it. JC Allen, Harry Berg, Ralph Williams, and yours.
I love you, brother. All right, the madman himself, former XPW announcer, Mark Mancini. Thanks a lot for your time here on the Evolution.
I love you, brother. You're the best.
See you, brother. There you go. All right. Thanks a lot to all the guests tonight. Once again, if you're a Rays fan, to update you, the Rays blow it in the 10th with their bullpen. Pete Fairbanks giving up a 3-run shot to Pete Alonso. Too many Petes to repeat with that performance. Hopefully it doesn't repeat tomorrow, as the Rays will look with Taj Bradley to face the Mets and take that series. Thanks a lot to all the guests tonight. As always, Mr. Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire at 1252 Chicago Sports. Of course, the legend himself, Leo Haggerty, former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions Amped Up Sports. Former Major League Baseball closer Roberto Hernandez, all-time closing guy for the Tampa Bay Rays. JC Allen, of course, Petwer Report, Mark Mancini, former XPW announcer Ralph Williams, Alex Nunster of Raise Up. Thanks a lot to all the guests, all the calls, as always. Do 3 things for me on this happy
Hump Day
edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Really quick, like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Like I Love St. Pete, Amped Up Sports, and The Hub. And the 3 things are, you know them, you love them, you got to have them. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for the Tampa Bay sports fan, it's your time. Have a great night.